Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Lena. My partner Tyler and I are renovating our entire home here in New Orleans, and we're currently working on our kitchen, and this is how it's going. Hello everyone, so I've actually been gone for the past week and a lot has happened while I was away. Tyler was able to get a lot done, including hanging the beadboard walls behind me. I'm pretty enthusiastic about that, but there are also now beams on the ceiling, and off camera I went ahead and caulked the seams on the beadboard just to make it a little more smoother, where you don't see like where one panel begins and the next ends. I did that last night and it's now fully dry. I also went ahead and sanded it all. Usually we sand things before I put them on the wall, but just for efficiency, we went ahead and Tyler went ahead and hung it. So I went ahead and sanded that. So this morning we can go in and prime the beadboard to then let that dry and then paint it the color that it's gonna be painted. Yeah, that's what we're gonna get started with today. We're gonna go ahead and prime and paint the beadboard. And I think after that, this room is definitely going to look a lot different. Yeah, I'm excited to see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right, so at this point, it's been a couple of hours. You'll notice that the room is a little bit darker. I had to turn a light on to give us some lighting, but the primer is now fully dry. I'm pretty happy with our coverage. Priming makes a huge difference. We made the mistake of using a paint-in primer for when we painted the sunroom, and it was just like, the wood like really sucked in the paint and it was super noticeable. We did beadboard in the bathroom as well, and we painted first like this, and then we added the paint on top of it, and we just had much better coverage. So this time for the kitchen, we opted to put a primer on first and then paint. So I think that it'll look really nice, and it wasn't splotchy, but it's just that like you could see the wood details of the beadboard, and we really just don't want to see that. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and mix up the paint color that I have, and then I'm going to go ahead and start painting. Priming itself took us like 2 hours, and that was with Tyler's help, so it's probably going to take me a while, so let's just get started. All right, so here is the paint. I don't actually know if we've shown the paint color that we're going to be using, but I'm going to stir it up now and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, this looks very, very light, but I promise it's a little darker when you apply it. We really went back and forth when we tried to think of what color we wanted this kitchen to be. Our sunroom is obviously green, and we haven't really painted the rest of the house, so it's kind of like setting the tone for the rest of your home. When you think about what color you want the room, not only what color you want the room to be, but how everything feels together. I think definitely our vibe is like earth tones. We're not afraid of using color. As you see, this is literally blue, but they're like softer colors. And I feel like that really represents Tyler and I's like style. We thankfully usually always agree on color tones. Like if I present him with a list of colors, him and I, if you put us separate and we're looking at the same colors, we will always gravitate towards the same ones, which I feel like is really nice when it comes to making decisions, like what color to paint rooms. I personally don't mind painting that much. I find it kind of relaxing, especially if I just like put my headphones on and I just do it. It's one of the tasks that I find, I mean, not mindless, but you can pretty much like turn your brain off and just do it. And I'm really good at those types of tasks where I'm just like doing the same thing over and over, like painting a room, and not having to like stop and like think about the really complicated things. which I feel like a lot of renovating is, where you're just like thinking about overall plans and just like large scale decisions that require a lot of thought. I don't know, basically all I'm saying is that I like to just like sit down, I'm not literally sitting, but I like to just do a task and like get it done. To me, that's the most satisfying work. So speaking of hand painting, Tyler met this woman the other day. He was doing something for his job, and he was talking to this woman who lives in New Orleans, and she was in the process of repainting her house, like the exterior of her house. And she was talking to Tyler about like the cost of painting the exterior. Like she got a couple quotes from a few different painters, and all of the prices that she was quoted was more than she could afford. Like we're talking like multiples of thousands of dollars, which rightly so. Like painting is very labor intensive, especially during this time of year where it's very warm out. Anyway, so she got these quotes and it was just not in her budget. And the solution for her, hand paint like a section of siding a day. Like I think her goal was like one a day or a few a day, depending on how much time she had. And I was like, thinking to myself when Tyler told me this, I was like, man, if you paint a few panes a day, I mean, it may take you a while, but at a certain point you'll finish and you'll have accomplished it for much cheaper because you did it yourself. And I feel like that's really relatable to renovating, because if you just do one thing a day, big or small, I mean, obviously you have pushes where you do a lot more, but if you just do one thing a day, eventually you'll get done. That's what Tyler and I tell ourselves whenever we approach big projects like this. Like often it feels like super overwhelming to think about all of the necessary steps to do something like a kitchen renovation. But if you just do one thing a day that you're capable of doing, like if you hang beadboard one day and then you sand it the next day and then you fill the nail holes the next day and then you caulk the next day and then you prime one day and then you put your color on the next, in like a week, you'll have finished doing this. And that's relatable. That's super relatable. You'll notice that I've left a small part on the top here between the two cracks, and then also if you're looking behind me, I'm leaving the bottom part where the cabinets are going to go unpainted. I don't think it's necessary. We primed it and it's going to be covered by cabinets anyway, so to save myself a little bit of time, I'm not going to paint that. Okay, so I'm now fully done with my first coat. I suspect I'm gonna need a second coat. I tried to be super generous with the paint, which I find helps to prevent like splotchiness. I'm pretty tired, so I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow I'm going to come back in when there's natural daylight in here and cover up spots that need, we'll pretty much just do touch-ups. Right now it's still drying, so it's not like the way it's gonna look when it's done, but I will say that it's been weird to like be in this white room and then to paint it a color and then to try to get used to the color. I felt the same way in the sunroom where we chose a green and I was not sure about the green, despite the fact that we had samples and we both decided on it. It took me a while before I was like, oh, like I actually do really like this. It took like putting the trim up and seeing all the wood stain and like really the room coming together before I was like, yes, this color works. So we'll see. I think with anything, oh my gosh. Sorry, I just noticed a drip. Drips are the enemy, enemy number one. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh, like anything, it takes time and multiple shades of sun to understand whether or not you like a color. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean my brush and call it a night. Okay, so at this point it's been a while. I've added the second coat of paint on and it is now fully dry, but I wanted to give a little context as to what's been happening behind the scenes because I feel like this is the type of thing that happens when you're renovating. Like sometimes like you're doing a project and other things pop up. That's just kind of the nature of renovating a home and, you know, restoring things and fixing things overall. Like there's usually multiple things happening at once. But I wanted to share a little bit about it because I mentioned yesterday, I think, when I was priming, or no, when I was doing the first coat of paint that Tyler was doing something else. And I wanted to share it because I feel like it's relatable, or I don't know, I just want to share it because it's so representative of what renovating is like, and it's an accurate representation of why I look like I've been rolling around in the mud. So a couple days ago, we noticed that our water pressure was really low. It was coming out of the faucets at definitely a reduced pressure. And at first, we kind of chalked it off to street work that was happening down the street. If you're familiar with New Orleans and all of the road work that occurs, like it's constant and it's like kind of normal for there to be like something happening, especially in terms of like your water pressure or something like that. And so at first, we were like, it's definitely probably that, and we thought that at the beginning. This was over the course of 4 days this week. We thought that the first day and the second day, but then by like the third and fourth day, we were like, you know, when will this end? We should probably call our local sewage and water board and try to like figure it out. And so that's what we did, and they pretty much were like, there's really no work around you, or there's no work around you that should affect you. And so at that point, we were like, okay, like we should further investigate. So that's what we did. Tyler took a look at our water meter on the street and the line that runs to the house. And through a process of like turning things off and like watching the meter, we realized that we had a leak between the water meter and the line to the house, which is a pretty big deal. I mean, like I said, this had been over the course of 4 days. So we'd been losing like, as you can imagine, like probably hundreds of gallons of water. So I'm really happy we were able to catch it as quickly as we were, but we spent the better part of last night and this morning digging up the trenching where the water line goes, and that's like a span of like, I think it's like total maybe like 40 feet, something like that. We didn't get that far, but it's hard digging, and we did that. And then this morning or this afternoon, we realized we were a little out of our skill set. So we called a plumber to come out, and thankfully we were able to work out like a plan. And it was just really nice because we talked to the plumber for such a long time, and he was able to like see where we were, you know, here we are undertaking this home renovation, and had a lot of empathy for us, which was really nice. And he was able to like meet us at a place that we could afford, which I really appreciate. I feel like something about New Orleans that is so valued, especially by me, is just how nice people are and how willing to take care of each other. It's just really nice. It was kind of, it's so stressful sometimes to like be in the middle of a project and you're already like stressing because you don't have a kitchen and, you know, X, Y, or Z, and then something else happens, which is almost inevitable. It seems like that's kind of how these things go, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but it's just so reassuring and nice that there are people who care and are willing to help you. And then to take it a step further, like we're without water tonight. Our plumber's coming back in the morning to do what he needs to do, and we went to our neighbor and we were like, hey, like we're without water tonight. Are we able to like fill our 5-gallon bucket of water with some water? And he was just so nice, and he was like, you know, here's our hose, we're gonna put it over our fence, use as much water as you need. That's just so nice. Like, I don't know, like that's the type of thing where I'm like, people really have your back and they really care, and I think that's so, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that like we have neighbors like that and community members who are willing to have empathy and show up and, you know, work out a plan with you. But I wanted to share what was happening behind the scenes, because obviously like we're in the middle of painting and I'm like, the paint's dry, but also I'm like, I've been stressed, Tyler's been stressed. It's been a really hard day for both of us, but we're just really thankful that we were able to work out a plan. So yeah, so with all of that being said, we are now going to hang our ceiling fan in the kitchen because tonight we want to be able to go and buy flooring so that tomorrow we can just lay the flooring. It's pretty hot in this room even with our windows open, so we wanted to be able to have the fan up. So that's what's on our docket. I'm excited, cautiously excited. There's a lot of work in front of us, but as per usual, like, we can get it done. So yeah, thank you guys for listening. Let's go hang a fan. Being able to install this fan really meant a lot for us because not only would we have air movement, but it would also cool the room down a lot as we move into the next stage, which is flooring. So this was really like a cherry on top after the few days that we'd had with the plumbing and having no water. It just felt like, honestly, like a cherry on top. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. We are installing new flooring next, and then after that it'll go pretty quickly, so you will not want to miss it. I will see you guys next time. Bye!